Welcome once again to the Squares of the Round Table podcast. I'm Jive and Ivory Rivera, and with me now is Mike and Jeff. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Awesome.
I'm good. Let's boogie.
Yeah, man. So
terrific.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
How was your week, Ivan?
Well, up until about Thursday, it wasn't too bad. I mean, Tuesday we had the big Mardi Gras party over at the Electric Jungle, which was a blisteringly wonderful success. It was a great time to be had. Hurricanes and King's Cake and all kinds of New Orleans style food. A lot of people showed up, a lot of our friends, and it was just a really nice get together. I did some spinning. King Anthony came down. He spun some of his tunes. And
how many rotations did you have?
I want to say about 40 people, pretty much, more or less.
Oh, no, I mean, you said you did some spinning. How many rotations were there when you did the spinning?
Well, 45 RPM, of course.
Did you throw up at that point?
Nah, I just got down. Yay. So it was a great time to be had on Tuesday. Then Wednesday was pretty much, I was recuperating from Tuesday's melee. Then Thursday I went to go see my folks, but then I guess between here and seeing my folks, I ended up started feeling funky. I had this nagging cough, and I started getting congested. And then by Friday, I was declining. By Saturday, I was a wreck, and I didn't even go to my my gig on Saturday. I didn't go to rehearsal on Sunday. I haven't been out since Thursday, so it's like I've been home, and the cat's been keeping me entertained, and Julie's been nursing me back to health, and I think I pretty much mentioned on my Instagram, Facebook post that, drinking my weight in water, tea, and broth, and trying to get this congestion, out of my person. I mean, I'm not doing, too terribly bad at this particular moment in time, but I'm just feeling a little, weak in the knees and stuff because of all the hacking and coughing, because it just takes so much out of you.
Has there been phlegm?
Yeah, just letting it all go. And it's like, it's such a pain. But,
you know what you need, don't you? You know what you should have done by now.
Well, what's that?
You know you should have taken a trip down to Kaufman to go get some freaking chicken soup.
Yeah, I wish I would have got myself some matzo ball chicken soup mishmash. Yes, I would have been all about it. Whew.
Well, that stuff will put you, that's the elixir of God.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I remember working at the radio station when going to Max's Deli and getting some of their mishmash matzo ball. And, man, that was like the nectar of the gods. It was so good and kept you so straight.
If you're sick, you go find some freaking Jewish chicken soup or something along those lines.
Yes, you go ahead and you get some of that Jewish chicken soup.
Okay after a while.
Yep.
How about, speaking of sick individuals, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good. I've had a fun week. It's
what
been, the weather's been better. Finally getting rid of all this snow. We had all that rain Saturday. But, man, I'm just, looking forward to spring. Just getting, we're planning, I got to get my room painted, I think either in April or May, and that's going to take an entire day to pull everything out of that room. That's coming up. But things have been good.
Okay. I've now figured out why I don't date as much as I used to. I figured this out. Apparently, according to a survey of Match.com, they have given us the average price of a date by state. Now, it's interesting what they include for this, which is the average cost of a date today in the form of a dinner for two, a bottle of wine, and 2 movie tickets. Which I think, quite frankly, seems a little excessive, but we won't get into that. Ready to hear what the average cost for a date like that is in the United States of America?
in what's Illinois or average per in the nation?
For the United States entirely. Any guesses, Ivan?
Huh?
Any guesses, Ivan? How much? Look
Is
at
that
the state of Illinois.
A nationwide average or a state average?
Nationwide.
Nationwide is on your side, Ivan.
Yes.
Well, I would say somewhere in the vicinity of.
You actually are really close to the Illinois state average. On average, we're talking about $102.32 for the entire United States. Where we live in the state of Illinois, you're looking at $157.96 to go on a date. Based on a dinner for two, a bottle of wine, and 2 movie tickets. I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a while, but I'll tell you right now, if I'm paying for that much, yeah, geez, I got to pay for a whole bottle of wine? You kidding me?
But see, they're basing that on dinner and a bottle of wine. What if you don't drink wine? Okay, because I think the wine, right there, that's a $50 to $75 cost right there, depending if you're getting good wine.
I'm curious if this is like a first date or where is this on the dating range? They're saying that the average American single spent almost $1,600 a year on dating of 5,000 surveyed from Match.com.
I never split a bottle of wine when I was dating. We just dinner and a movie sometimes.
Yeah,
but that's $1,600. That sounds about accurate.
Obviously, they're not getting Boone's Farm.
Well,
I Sutter home.
Well, I'll tell you what. My first date with Julie cost me all of $15.
$15.
Whoa! Well, careful there, moneybags.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Okay, I'll tell you. When I first took Julie out, it'll be 4 years in June. Because this was at a time and place I was going through transition, and I was playing with my mom, and I was recouping and regrouping from all events that have happened in and around that time and place. And when Julie and I got established, to meet on that first day, and I told her I didn't have much in the way of money, resources, or anything for that matter. But she came anyway, and she showed up, and our date consisted of a walk around the neighborhood, going to Tapatio's, and a dinner of tacos, which were $1 a piece. So we split 2 plates of tacos, and we had gone to the conservatory in Lincoln Park. We walked around the park. We hung around, and so basically our first date consisted of just that, and was $15. And here I am, almost 4 years later, and we come to the point of money a date does not make, because you could spend all of this money in the world, but does it make really a difference when you can just sit there and just spend some real quality time? I mean, I think a lot of the dating thing has gotten to the point of trying to impress. I mean, because years ago, you were in school, and a girl was thrilled to have your high school ring hanging around her neck, and you did things together. You spent quality time, and things didn't cost that much money. But now today, a lot of people are looking at your financial status. Where are you at one point of your life? How secure you are right now? Where you live? I mean, what part of the city you live? I mean, there's a lot of variables that were never such a thing, years ago. But now it's become a thing.
I'll take it a step further. Now that we're older, I went to like a speed dating thing, and it was I was in that age. I was in that age range where I was too old for one group and too young for the other group. And then the one that was too young, I swear every question was to qualify to find somebody who was in the right tax bracket and was more than happy to deal with their kids from their first marriage. So yeah, I hear you 110%.
Yeah, see, there that is, you know.
That was definitely happening, and I was surprised by it. Real fast, just because to give you perspective, any guesses what state is the cheapest on the average price for a date?
Let me just take a shot off the head. Colorado?
No, but okay, Mike, what about you?
Mississippi, because dating your sister's free.
I thought that was Kentucky, but we won't get into that. Mississippi, okay, so Colorado is $109.12, FYI. Mississippi is $68.29. The lowest state is this makes sense. South Dakota, $38.27. Now I want you to think about this.
$40?
$40 for dinner for two, a bottle of wine, and 2 movie tickets.
Dang.
That is
wow. We all need to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'll be podcasting next week from South Dakota.
Yeah, really, seriously.
Okay.
How's the cost of living so low?
Well,
maybe it's because of the oil market? I'm not sure.
Here's a question. Who lives there?
The fracking.
Yeah, there's
oil people.
North Dakota.
They're fracking into the side of Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yeah.
The oil boom out there.
I thought that was North Dakota. I thought North Dakota was...
Either or, the Dakotas. They got those mountains. I don't know.
Yeah, they got mountains. They got stuff.
Wow. Way to go, South Dakotans. Your dating scene is smoking.
So your expensive dating hasn't moved since, I say, maybe the 1950s?
And since the beginning of the year, I've been a member of a dating site, and it's just difficult to initiate conversation. And the fact that some of these profiles are so damn fake, they're just fishing for email addresses or phone numbers or personal information of any kind.
Right.
So like, oh my God, it's just so frustrating. And I've had people I'll log in and I'll get instant messages from user number 73257 blah blah whatever, and it's like, oh look, and it's this beautiful woman. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. Like, you have no name and yeah. Anyway, the dating scene, the dating websites thing is a pain in the ass too.
Yeah, there's that.
I did the dating website when Julie and I got together.
Yeah, that's how you met Julie. That's awesome, dude.
I mean, and I went for a specific. And, I know what I like. So I went to Big Beautiful People Meet because I am big, beautiful person. So I went ahead and I went there, and the specifics of which, because, in my dating life, I'm not saying that I'm anything to that extent, but, I've had my fair share of experiences. And I always find that, once I read, Julie's profile and I saw her picture and a picture does say 1,000 words, rather or not, you might think about it consciously. You'd be surprised. And about fake profiles, yeah, Mike, I'm with you on that. And then there was the time that I think I might have told you when I was on Facebook and how these people with their who would friend you, and they'd have these pictures and these stories, and they always start off so great, and then by the time you get to the bottom of the thread, but in order for me to make this happen, I need X amount of dollars, fill it in.
It's like the Nigerian prince or whatever,
Yeah, or the people from Ghana or anything else. I got stories on those things that would curl your hair, trust me. But it's tough today. it's not like, years ago where, okay, maybe you did the bar scene and you met at a bar, you had a few drinks and a few laughs, and then something may or may not transpire from that. You never know. Or you got together with people through their friends who say, hey, I'm going out with such and such, but her friend could use a date. And you would meet up that way. Or, your friend, or family members sometimes would set you up, or, but now the dating scene has gotten so complex, and everybody has a specific thing in mind, and there's there aren't any way in the variables. It has to be that it's like an all or nothing type of sensibility that has become the dating platform.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to somebody of the female persuasion, and I was talking to some women that I know, and we were talking about dating just in general. And apparently, I don't understand it. Apparently, maybe I don't get it. But apparently, sending a girl your dick pic is a thing.
What?
I don't. It's like, hey, baby, I got this. Come get me. It's like, okay.
I never understood.
Like they're going to jump in their car and drive because they saw it.
Right. Well,
you just gave away the mistake when you did that.
Well,
that's stupid.
You better, seriously, you better be hung like John Holmes or something like that for a woman to be like, okay. Some of those women would take one look at it and be like, holy shit, I'm not going anywhere near that thing.
Which, and the thing, okay, the macho sensibilities of the dating thing are just so out of sync with the way things are today. And women just they're not having it anymore. You might have been, maybe 1 out of 10 you might have been able to get away with the dick pic, but now forget about it. I don't
know. I'm not sure. I do think that there are some women out there that, you send something like that, and I'm not saying it's all of them. I think there are some where it's like, get mine, and that's all good.
It depends on the site you were meeting on.
Yeah, it depends on, that too.
And also, the type of woman you want in your house.
Who said anything about house?
Or a hotel room, or
I was just saying,
a car or whatever. It's it's dangerous. Wow. It's dangerous. Yeah.
For both the man and the woman.
Yeah. Wow.
When I worked at Deerfield Village Center, and I would get people, trying to get into the apartments. And I would get calls like, hey, there's a lady downstairs wanting to get into such, apartment such and such. And so I have to get up out of bed and go downstairs and investigate the situation. Here's this woman who obviously looked like a Craigslist, setup. She was in a halter top, pajama pants, slippers, and just, she looked like she had been through the ringer, okay? And she's just like, excuse me, but there's a guy here who owns a penthouse, and I really need to get in. I looked at her, and I'm like, not in this lifetime, you aren't. And she goes, well, who are you?
That's different. That's not dating.
That's just hookups.
Yeah,
and most. And I want to say that I'm not saying that all women are guilty of the hookup thing, but then they see the dick pics. That's just it. It's all about hookups. I don't think there's a meaningful situation behind a dick pic.
Well, yeah. There's two ways to look at it, but in fairness, if you're finding somebody on Craigslist, chances are that's hired help. That's just, not anymore.
Well, yeah, that's
I don't know.
Well, that's just smash and grab. That's what that is, so.
Here's the 100. Let's go to it.
Right. Yeah. Well, just more of a. Well, I don't know if that's. Well, anyway. But all I'm saying is that what I'm trying to say is that any respectable woman is not gonna, be impressed by the old dick pic situation. I mean,
again, all I'm gonna say is it depends on. Well, I mean,
it depends on where you go. Yeah, okay, I get it.
I mean, I imagine there's sometimes where there's a girl's like, damn, okay, but I can't imagine that's a regular thing, right? But
I don't know. I mean, I read Facebook and I read Instagram, and I read the disdain from some of my my women friends who they talking. Oh, great, this guy, I met up with him, and what did he do? He sent me a dick pic. Never in your dreams, dude. I'm just like, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It must. I mean, here's the thing. There has to be a reason why you would do it, right? I mean.
It all goes back to how you were brought up on it. Okay, you get people that they have a bravora about them. Yeah, I'm hung like a horse. She wants a date. Snap.
You mean bravado, Ivan?
Bravado, bravora, whatever. But
let's call the whole thing off.
Right. So the thing about it is that hey.
I have a theory. My theory is they get some of these guys are going off. Some of these guys are just looking to get laid, and they're going off volume, which is the more people they respond to, and the more they send that pic, the more they got a better shot that maybe one can go, okay, let's do this. It's the only thing I can come up with.
Okay, well, all right. So we'll say maybe on an average of 100%, maybe if you sent out the dick pic, the possibility maybe okay, what would you say? Let's give a number. I would say 10, 15% might take that person up on it.
Yeah, that's where they're hoping for the law of averages.
Yeah, exactly. I think it depends on what their law of average looks like too. But I think that's what it is. I think if you had 100 of these and you hit on 5. Okay.
Yeah, but then I guess maybe then that's what you zero in. But then also too, you gotta fear the fact that once you get to that woman, I mean, you don't know what you have no idea what you're getting into.
Oh yeah, wow.
You don't know what you're getting into, all right? And there have been some harrowing things that have happened in my life where, you know what, and men, let me tell you something, don't fuck around, okay? Don't fuck around like that, because let me tell you something. A woman will just as well, wait till you're blasted enough, put lighter fluid and light you in your bed. Because let me tell you, there's no hell has no wrath like a woman scorned. So all I'm saying
I wasn't going to go there, but apparently we have today.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, but the thing is, because a lot of guys, I can handle this and I can do this and I can do that. But you know what? You got some women out there, they're a lot more slick than you think they are. And they don't play. They don't play.
Now there's other scams beyond that too.
Another whole thing.
That's another whole thing. So you're taking your chances, sending your dick pic out there, and then on top of that, you're sending your dick pic out there, and then those girls are sending that same dick pic to their friends, and then they're going around sharing your dick pic to all of their.
And what they'll do is I've seen these scam sites where they get to know you and they want to get your phone number, and then they find you on Facebook, and they'll use these clandestine, these illicit pictures to blackmail you.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow.
There it is. Yeah, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We've been dating so much fun. By the way, just to give you the other side of those average prices, any guesses on the most expensive state and how much?
I presume it's Hawaii.
New York?
Hawaii is in the top 5.
Yeah.
Hawaii is $239.95. Ivan is correct with New York. New York is $297.27. So,
wow.
And that makes sense. That makes sense. That the tri-state area, when it comes to dating for that kind of thing, is expensive. Because New Jersey is like $260, and Connecticut's like $230. So, I mean, California's not far behind, but they're not. I think they might be like number 5. So, that's kind of impressive. But like I said, I thought this was an amusing thing to bring up.
No, but it is amusing, and the whole getting into the whole subject of dating and everything, which brings me to this particular point, whereas based upon who you're dating and what you look for in the person that you're dating, I find that it's just a little bit more difficult to date as and I hate using this term, but it seems to have come into vogue now to date a geek, okay? Or to date a nerd, okay?
You say so.
Well,
okay.
but I'm saying, but that exactly. See, you guys just answered my question. Yeah, it's not easy to date. It's not easy to date when you're a geek or a nerd, or when you got some, when you got a situation that you love something just as much, if not more, than the person that you're with.
Well, unless you've got the high-paid salary to go with the
geekage.
Yeah, the geekage.
So 2 quick stories on that. One, a few years back I went to C2E2, and they had geek speed dating.
Oh, boy.
And if you thought that was something, there were people who showed up in their cosplay doing it. And I took one look and went, nope, I'm done.
I'll bet some of the cosplayers, they have the cosplayers are a tightly knit community.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some of them. Yeah, by the way, speaking of C2E2, it's coming up,
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Either you guys thinking about going?
I've kind of nurtured an interest of it. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna pass. I think I'm gonna pass this year. I don't think I'm gonna do it, even though this might be one of the last times to rub elbows with a George Perez. I think I'm gonna pass.
So that's the thing. I think, like Mike said, the cosplay community amongst themselves, they seem to honor their sensibilities when it comes to dating. I mean, because you see a lot of cosplay couples that work off of each other, doing dating and working within their cosplay, and but what do you tell the?
Yeah, but I want you to think about this for a second. You're a girl, you're a geek speed dating thing, and the guy who sits down to come to talk to you next is wearing the Flash costume.
Okay.
Mike's laughing, he gets it. I mean, it's like, it'd be different if it was like cosplay speed dating, but it's like, I don't know. I just.
Well, I know you're a little biased against cosplaying anyway, so.
Right, yeah, exactly. So. Wow. Yeah, and I think it's kind of a loaded situation when it comes to you, Jeff, because you're not a fan of furries, you're not a fan of cosplayers that much.
Just get the fuck out of the aisle. I want to walk. Get out of the way. Stop being in everybody's way so you could be fawned over and then complain about that people are taking pictures of you and you didn't get paid.
True. Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
Get out of the way. Get the hell out of the way. Get out of the way.
I think we touched a nerve here.
Yeah, I think we did. We did.
Look, I really don't have an issue with cosplayers. My biggest thing about cosplayers is twofold, that's the biggest one, which is you're trying to get somewhere and everybody is stopped because you can't get through the aisle because somebody's wearing a costume and everybody decided to whip out their phone. And it's like,
you've got animatronic wings, or you got some huge cardboard sword, or something blocking the aisle.
You got some kind of accessory that's so excessive that it just calls attention to you.
Some woman wearing spandex that you're just sitting there, and every nerd is drooling who's never been to something called a strip club. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's the problem. I think that's the other problem I have. Is it's like the geek nerd community when it comes to cosplay, they all end up acting like a bunch of freaking
I mean, all like a bunch of school children. Yeah, I get it.
Hey man, when Yaya Han, her cleavage could stop traffic at the airport, man.
Yeah, exactly. And you got Ivy Doom Kitty, who, you've seen her cosplays, and it doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Right, and by the way, I don't care, and I don't mind that they do it, but some of these guys are just, you guys have seen it, where it's like there's a guy who literally is like, can I come up there and hump your leg or something? I mean,
yeah, you get the creepers, yeah.
Well, it's not just.
That's inherent in much culture. You always get the cretins that don't have any manners or just don't know where boundaries are.
That's half the people taking the pictures that are sitting in the aisle is some dad who's like sitting there who is lusting over some girl who's half his age with his son or daughter in tow because he took them with to the freaking convention. That's great. That's what you want to teach your kids.
Yeah, that's the thing you wanna. That's the thing you want to impart on your kids. Hi, don't mind if I take these pictures. I gotta go to the bathroom now.
Yeah, like I said, that I don't have it. Like I said, I really don't have any. Well, I take it back. There are a couple places where I have issues with them. Okay, you're gonna come and see the Star Wars movie. No, you don't need to bring your lightsabers. No, you don't. You don't.
I had a couple of those when we saw The Force Awakens. We had a family of cosplayers, and there was a young Jedi who had his lightsaber. Although he behaved with it. He wasn't waving it up high while the movie was going on.
Or people who show up with their toy guns. Especially in this day and age. No.
Yeah, after what happened with
and they're complaining, and everybody's complaining. I mean, here's what doesn't get talked about. For all the stuff about cosplay and about, we should be able to take our swords, we take everything wherever we want. Yeah, in the meantime, there is nobody, I heard this story a while back. There's a reason why there's nobody in San Diego who will sell swords. And the reason they don't is they had an incident a while, and I can't remember how far back it goes, but they had a real bad incident real far back, to the point of where to be able to sell a sword at the San Diego Comic-Con, you can't afford the insurance. Okay?
Right.
And that's where I have my issue. But to your point about geek dating, Ivan, I wanted to get back to this, which is, there was a date I went on, and it was going well at the beginning because when I met up with her, she was better looking than the picture that I saw, which I said, wow, you look. I was like, you need better pictures, and she was very, very happy about that. And we went to grab some dinner. We're hanging out. We're doing our thing. And it's funny. She's talking about how she loves these country cover bands, and she's like, oh, I really love it. And I said, yeah, I don't mind going as long as you don't mind that I'm making fun of them. And then there was silence.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I think I touched the girl. I'm like, and then I made the comment about, well, cause, it's not like it's the real thing. Then there was more silence.
You were trying to be witty, and you took it for face value.
No.
That you were.
Well,
what cover band would you like to go see, Jeff?
Not country, that's for sure.
Not country. Hi, we're not country. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Here's a clue. Not country at all. But here's the part where the date went south. Because I'm still thinking maybe I might be able to salvage this. Until she says the following. She goes, yeah, I don't even get Star Wars. I don't even understand why anybody would watch that crap.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Check, please.
Yep.
Thank you, and good night.
Yep, that was the end.
I don't even know who Mr. Spock is.
That was the end.
That thing you're doing with your hand, what's that mean? When you split your fingers into,
I was just like, yep, that's the end.
It means don't call me, I'll call you. That's what the Vulcan salute is.
Oh, no, trust me, by the end of the day, both of us really, very much
live long and prosper.
Yeah. It wasn't even like, it was like, yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you too. God, I'm never fucking called that way.
Okay.
No,
and that also seems to expound upon the sensibilities of, how some women think, okay? Yeah, you could date them, you tell them that you're with them and that you love doing things with them, but as soon as you start getting into your groovy thing, and all of a sudden, you start hearing things like, boy, you really like spending a lot of time with that, or, every time we go out, you have to do that, or, do we have to go here because do you need that? And then you're like, wait a minute, okay,
Yeah.
You're the one that told me that you were all up into this whole situation. You gave me this whole song and dance on the phone about, oh yeah, I'm into this and I'm into that and I think this is really cool. But yet, now that it's in front of you and you see it happening right before your eyes, I'm sharing the most intimate part of my life with you. And then you're going to sit there and, poo-poo me? I don't think so.
Well,
Okay.
in fairness, it was a first date. It was a first date, and trust me, the worst part is that the food hadn't showed up yet, so I couldn't even yell, "Check, please." And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like,
dude, man, I feel so bad.
I'm like, I'm stuck here for at least another half an hour trying to make this work.
When you're a disc jockey, when you're a DJ, and you're out there, and and people, all right, when there's a disc jockey out there doing his work, let him do his work, okay? Those of you, I know we live in the age of the technology and the cell phone and everything. Okay, here's 10 don'ts that you don't do to a disc jockey. Number 1, request. Okay? The people that have him up there already know what the disc jockey is going to play. That's what he is paid to play. And that's what he's going to play. You going up there, yelling at his face, saying, "Oh yeah, Freebird."
Well,
that's not a request.
Exactly. You're yelling Freebird. No, 1, it's like, you're right, it's not a request, and 2, it's annoying. Okay? Number 2.
Wait, stop, because I did that to you on your Facebook Live. I did it on purpose because I knew you.
No. This is just examples. No, for you, because I know you, and you're my friend. That's fine.
Right.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Because I know that I recently did it to you, but I just
I know, but don't worry about it. Don't tell you like that. I mean, because I get
by the way,
people.
half the time I do it to DJs just to piss them off.
Well, but there's a lot of people out there that they just do it because they just know they can, and they just want to get the scowl, on the disc jockey's face.
I can't lie. I'm one of those people sometimes.
Well, all right, but I'm just saying. Number two, do not come up with your cell phone and ask to plug your cell phone in. Okay. No.
Oh, really? You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. I have had people come up with their cell phones saying, well, the people aren't dancing, so maybe this will get them going. Thank you for insulting me, first off. And then second, no way in the gates of hell am I going to take the time to go ahead and plug your stupid little phone into my system just because you want to hear something you want to hear. No.
Right out of his Pat Boone playlist.
Thank you. So I'm like,
in fairness, Ivan, you're missing out on an opportunity.
What's that? So anyway, number 3. Okay.
No, hold on. You're missing out on an opportunity because when they hand it to you and they say, here, play this, in theory, they've given it to you, right?
Right.
So they've given you their phone.
You can always keep the phone, right?
Yep. That was my thought.
But when you're working with people that are when you're working with people that may or may not have been imbibing, that's not something you want to invite.
I just wish to point it out to you that you have an option.
Okay.
You're gonna have a big sign that says if you hand me your phone, I'm not giving it back.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Number 3. Do not come up to the disc jockey saying, "Excuse me, but that song, wait a minute. It goes like this. Dun, 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 dun. Do you know that song?"
The Sanford and Son theme?
Yeah, just like, okay, number 4. Number 4, okay, your girlfriend or, your boyfriend does not have priority over the set list, okay? So if you give a request to somebody and you don't get your request, do not send your significant other up and try to bully the DJ into submission, because then you will never hear that song. Ever. Okay, number 5. Okay, do not ask to come into the DJ booth. No. Do not knock on the door. Do not come up to the gate and everything and say, "Hey man, this is so cool. Can I jam out here with you?" And of course, naturally, they're looking for photo ops, and they want to put the arm around the DJ and take selfies and all this other shit, which, unless, I know you and you're friends with me, that's the only time I would ever allow such a thing.
By the way, I want to be clear. With this list, there's a big giant asterisk after the 10 things you don't do with a big giant asterisk. And I will tell you what the asterisk is when you get done with number 10.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay. And of course, number 6, do not distract the disc jockey from what he's doing. Do not stick your tits up against the glass. Do not stick your face up against the glass and breathe heavy. Okay? Have
you had
7.
that happen, Ivan?
Hey, stop.
This seems like something coming from personal experience.
This is personal experience, yes. I worked at the Owl one year, and I actually had a girl sitting there pressing her cleavage up against the glass, trying to get my attention.
Why is this a problem?
Okay? There was another time where a girl just stuck her face up against the glass, flattening her nose, and breathing heavy and steaming up the glass, trying to get my attention.
Okay. Hold on, stop. Okay. I'm with you on the face against the glass thing. The boobs against the glass thing, I'm gonna push back on that one.
Well, okay, but again,
it is a distraction.
It is a distraction. Yeah. But are you really bothered by this?
Okay, I mean, I
want to get paid to do my job, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about it is too, you got DJs like myself where we only got anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to come up with the next thing to keep the continuity going, or you got the 12-inch guys who they got 8 to 10 minutes to try to come up with the continuity, unless they're doing the myriad of different things that they do, scratch, cut, loop, whatever. I mean, it's hard work, and
you've got
clubbing is hard work. Okay, number 7, do not ask the DJ to see your records. Let's see the records. No. Keep your fingers out of the box. Do not go into the case. Do not ask to see what the records he's playing. If you ask the disc jockey what you just played nicely, and he's nice enough for him to hold the record over to you, and you can take a picture of it so that way you can have it for your collection, that's fine. But that's upon discretion of the disc jockey. Okay? All right? Number 9. Number 8 is do not try to get the disc jockey blasted in order to get your tune played, because, again, not going to happen. Okay? I mean, don't keep sending shot after shot after shot or anything, because the poor guy might be a recovering alcoholic, or he just doesn't drink, and you're blowing your wad buying all these drinks in the hopes you're going to get this song played just so that way you could get laid. Okay? Number 9, do not try to disgrace the disc jockey in front of the dancers, in front of the people playing. Okay? You get these loud mouths that say, "Man, there's nobody dancing in here. Why don't you play something so we can all dance to it, or I'm just going to go home."
No heckling, right?
Yeah, no heckling. Okay. And number 10. And number 10 is I can't stress 10 enough. Okay? After the night is over for the disc jockey, do not ask for one more. because once 2 o'clock, okay, we are in a 4 o'clock state in Chicago, but there are some bars that close at 2. There's some that close at 3. But it's always a half hour before the closing time when the guy yells out "last call for alcohol." Then he's only allowed to play up to anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before closing time. Okay, and once that's done, it's done. Okay, but if the disc jockey is nice enough and wants to do one more, okay, but that again also on the discretion of the disc jockey. Okay,
or the bar owner.
Or the bar owner, because you know what, you got a lot of bar owners. They've been there all day. They've been there all night. They want to get the fuck out of Dodge, go home and get some rest. And the disc jockey who has been on the burn the whole 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 hours. And there were times in my life where I've spun for 12 hours straight, that, it's like, you know what? The last thing I want to hear is one more song, So, because my ears and my brain need to decompress after the end of the night. When I get done with a disc jockey gig and I wrap up my stuff and and you disc jockeys, when you are done at the end of the night, be courteous. Be courteous. If you opened up the case, wrap it up and close the case again. If you brought chairs up to the booth, bring the chairs back down. Okay? Leave the place as clean as you came to it. Okay? Because there's nothing a bar owner or club owner hates worse is when the DJ booth looks like hell at the end of a night. Really, please.
All right.
So, getting to Jeff's asterisk.
Asterisk is?
Asterisk is, if you are single and you are DJing, and there is someone of the opposite sex who is absolutely hot, some of these rules no longer apply.
One thing you don't want to do is do that, because I'll tell you why.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're a single DJ and you got all of these women who are just ogling and just oohing and eyeing and all this other stuff like that, you got to remember, okay, the shape that a lot of them could be in and some of the backgrounds that some of these women come from, okay? And you know what? It's best that you just wait till everybody is sane of mind and alcohol-free and are within their wits, because let me tell you something, that's when you have things like, oh, he put a move on me. I was drunk. He tried to do this. He made whatever. You do not want that in the equation.
She might have an ex-boyfriend waiting around the corner.
All right. Or she may have a boyfriend there. And just, and the boyfriend's already mad enough that she's swooning over you. So you're asking to get your ass kicked at the end of a night. No. So don't ever do that.
Well, it's like trying to flirt with a woman when you're at any job.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. If you got a woman that you come with, okay, like for example, Julie is the only woman I've ever had in my whole entire disc jockey life that has actually worked alongside me. Right from day one, Julie's worked alongside me. I mean, I didn't even have to ask her. I would take the records I'm done with. She would put them back in the sleeves and throw them back in the case. I've taught her how to cue. I taught her how to work the board in case, there were moments where I needed to use the bathroom, which is really a nice perk, really, if you think about it. But a lot of disc jockeys do not have their partners with them. One, because a lot of disc jockey partners aren't into that type of thing. And if they are, a lot of partners say, well, you know what, it takes away from the disc jockey's mystique if the woman is up there with them. But I don't care, because, Julie and I, when we go together, everybody knows we're together. So it doesn't matter, okay? And when I was alone, when I was single and when I wasn't, in that, I wasn't in that whole thing. I did it alone because I just didn't want to invite the drama. Because that's more times than not, it's more drama than you really want to bother with. So, that being said, and there it is, but it's hard to find women that understand that they know that you're a disc jockey, which means you're going to go up in front of a bunch of people in a room. You're going to have them dancing, and they're going to be excited, and they're drinking, and they're carrying on. They're going out. They're smoking a joint. They come back. They're real high. They're real happy. They're doing all kinds of things and everything, and and you just have to be very careful. Very careful.
I didn't say don't be careful. I said that some of these rules can be amended depending on the situation
and when you're in that situation where you've got all these people who all these endorphins going on, natural both and self-medicating chemicals into their bodies.
Yeah, when they're busy self-medicating.
People are not themselves. People change when they're in this party scene. So that's when you get strange behavior and you get the things that Ivan mentioned.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I've heard too many stories. I mean, I work at the places I work, and you hear these stories of, oh yeah, well, I really like the disc jockey, and we were talking, and we were going to go out and do this, and she's drunk, and disc jockey's feeling amorous and everything like that. Next thing you know, it's splashed all over Facebook, it's splashed all over Instagram. Oh, he put the moves on me, or he tried to rape me, or he tried to do this or that. And it's terrible. It's terrible. It's a dangerous thing. And, you just have to be careful with that kind of thing, because that does happen for real.
Because you are doing a job, and behavior like that can jeopardize future jobs, can hurt your wallet.
Exactly. Because you know what? Once something like that gets out there, you're dead. You're dead in the business. Then no bar or room is going to want to hire you, because they don't want the drama. They don't want the liability. They don't want the bullshit that's attached to any of that. And so that's why, if you're a single disc jockey, and, do your business before he's busy spinning. But once he's done spinning, most disc jockeys I know, they just, it's my night, I'll see you, thank you, it's been cool, catch up with you later. I mean, you get some of the girls out there that they want to have the disc jockey, but, that depends on the disc jockey, as it were. It's just like after any situation, there's boundaries. There are boundaries. Okay? Cosplayers, they have boundaries, people who work in that, service industry, they have boundaries, okay? Respect the boundaries. Because in the end, the person that will benefit from you respecting boundaries is going to be you, because then that way you save yourself from any kind of heartache, any kind of headache, and any impending liability. So I just can't express that enough. When I was and I learned, and like I said, I learned this from experience. I'll tell you the truth. There were times, when I at the end of the night, and there were women that were just like, hey man, let's go party. Yeah, well, guess what? You go ahead, you go party. You're taking your life in your own hands, because remember, those people are not who they appear to be, especially when they've had alcohol or drugs poured into their systems. Okay? So that's a very serious thing to keep in mind, because, and especially now in the day and age that we live in, with the Me Too movement and everything that's going on right now, it makes it harder now. It makes it a little harder now to be that person without, it touching off or, striking a nerve or sending, some kind of signal that you thought you were sending, and it ends up being the thing that did not turn into that, So,
Well, like I said, I'll agree to disagree with you a little on that, but.
Okay, yeah,
that's just me. I think, and again, I'm looking at it from a perspective of we.
Okay, here, let me go.
Hold on, Ivan, let Jeff make his point.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We both have stories of things just like what I'm talking about. Now, maybe it's not as smart, but, again, it depends. you're talking about it, Ivan. Now you've been in the business for a while. You've done this for a while. You have somebody, and you're looking from that perspective. There are a lot of 20-something DJs who, trust me,
they're looking to get their whistle wet.
Yeah, they're looking to get bummed out, but I'm just trying to tell those 20, 30 somethings that if you're going to go out and do that, be prepared for what you're getting yourself into.
Actions have consequences.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. If you know what, if you get lucky at the end of a gig with somebody, all right, it's all you, all right. And if you work that out, and you and that person are on the same level in some respect, okay. But just please, just make sure that you know where boundaries are. That's all. And that's it. I mean, I'm not saying that disc jockeys don't go out and do the naughty thing. Back in the beginning when I started, sure I did. But as you get older and as you get wiser, and after you've done it as long as I've been doing it, then there are certain things that you have to impart on those who are doing it, today, especially in the times that we live in, because it's not that world anymore. It really isn't. And for the fact of the matter being that, and again, Yaya Han will take a picture with you, but it doesn't entitle you to put your hand on her ass.
I think she's probably got a handler or something at this point. I'm sure she's got a guy who will break your arm if you try and cop a feel.
Yeah, Ivy Doom Kitty, who I have as a friend on Instagram and on
Oh, you mean the cosplayers?
Yes, the cosplay.
Oh yeah, the cosplayers. The cosplayers at this point, some of the smart ones have security, but
again,
it's the amateurs where that's still an issue. But the ones that are the professionals, that's that. Like I said, the one thing to me that I think is still part of it is if you're walking along and I don't know where the etiquette is or isn't these days on this whole thing with the cosplay because if these people stop and the one person takes a photo and 3 other people stop and take a photo, in theory all of them should be paying. In theory. But I don't know. Sometimes some cosplayers don't care. Other times cosplayers are like, yeah, you all should pay me. And it's very strange because there's nothing at this point that says for sure on that. And there are a lot of people who, when you're not the first person in, you're the 3rd or 4th person in taking the picture, you take the picture and get the heck out of there because you don't want to pay. And that's
I would think that, in a case like that, I think the cosplayer should make it clear if you're going to take my photograph, number 1, ask me first. Number 2, there will, please, at least tip me or please,
or consider buying a print or something.
Consider buying a print.
But okay, so let me say, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say I'm at C2E2, and I'm walking to get some food, and I see a cosplayer, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to take a picture of that person. I stop them to take a picture. They stop for me to take a picture. I take a picture. However, when they stop for me, that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't other people who aren't going to stop too, who are either going to come late to the party after she said something along the lines of what you guys are talking about, snap a picture and then go. That's the problem. I think that's part of the problem.
I think such protocol should be made standard in the doorway when you go into the conventions. As something that at least to put a notice out saying that if you take a photo with a cosplayer, at least afford them a gratuity, buy their print, but before anything, ask their permission. If you make an honest effort to mention it, maybe I don't know.
I gotta be honest with you. I'll tell you why that's never going to happen. Because if that has to happen and they have to be involved in it, they're going to want to cut.
Okay, perhaps.
Who do I want to cut?
Maybe.
It's just that simple.
It's a case by case basis.
Okay.
Some are just doing it for fun. Others got a booth. Some trying to sell prints. Some trying to promote their website. Some might even be advertising someone's clothing apparel.
Or also, too, they could have a variant on the design of costume that they have on, which is a one-of-a-kind thing, and they just don't want it to get out there so other people can lift it.
Yeah, I ain't even gotten that far.
That's an idea.
No, it is.
Because you see how, cosplaying has taken so many different levels now today, where a lot of the costumes have become more individualistic as time has gone on. You have a remnant of what that costume is supposed to be, but then there are certain touches and things that they add or maybe subtract from the costume in order to make it more them than the character. But
well, obviously, either custom fit or just plain one of a kind itself. So
right. Well, again, like I said, there's still too much where it's still a situation where there are people who are. It's still a situation where there are people who are pros and there are people who are not. And the interesting part to me is, it's funny, like Mike said, okay, there are pros that get a booth and they have a booth and you have to go to the booth and you take the picture there. Unfortunately, that's usually not the people who most of the people are taking pictures with. At least in my experience. And it would be a lot easier if they all had booths like that. But most of them aren't going to pay for booths because that's not what they planned on doing in the first place to be there. Truth be told, if you're an artist and you show up at a con like C2E2, yeah, if you want to sell your stuff, you better be at a booth. If you're a writer and you want to sell your stuff, yeah, you better have a booth or something along those lines. Cosplayer is like the only thing where you don't have to have a booth. You don't have to. You don't have to have a booth, and it seems like that's part of the problem is exactly that. In that, some of them are amateurs, some of them are not, and like Mike said, some of them don't care if you take their picture and they don't get paid. Others, they get real indignant about the whole thing. I think that's part of where, in some regards, some of my frustration with cosplay is these days is you're right, Ivan, there is no uniformity, and the problem is that the way it is now, I don't know that you can get uniformity. I don't think you can.
Yeah. It's the following weekend. I might try and just pop in on a Sunday. Lots of cool guests. I might even try and go to C2E2 next Sunday.
Is it next Sunday? Wow, I didn't even think.
Oh, it's next weekend. Not this weekend. It's the weekend after St. Patty's.
Well, I'm ready. If I'm better by that, then maybe. But I'm trying to get better so I can at least make it to the St. Patty's gig I got.
Why does C2E2 say? Hold on.
It's the South Building at McCormick Place. Oh, it's not even at the Donald A. Stevens or. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to drive. Yeah, it's at McCormick Place.
Hold on.
If it was in Rosemont, if it was at either the Hyatt or the Donald A. Stevens, maybe. But now it's at McCormick Place. I don't have to drive all the way around the city.
So it's the 22nd through the 24th. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the week after.
Yeah. That's what I said. The weekend after St. Patty's.
Yeah. What is with all the wrestling stuff too? What is with all the wrestling stuff? I don't understand that at all. There's a lot of people coming for like pro wrestling stuff. I mean, like.
Well, you gotta remember, it's McCormick Place. It's a huge place and exhibition hall. They can hold several events at once.
No. This is all C2E2 guests. There's a lot of guests that are like wrestling types. Like Jim Cornette.
I mean, would you consider wrestling a part of cosplay in a way?
I don't know. I think it is.
Oh.
Yeah. Have fun telling that to cosplayers. That'll go well.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of wrestling types that are going to be there. Ralph Macchio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The
Cobra Kai Season 2 trailer dropped last week. We're getting an echo again.
We do? Some of Blau, who I'm sure there'll be people drooling over. Yeah, here's this Yahan woman that you guys were talking about.
Yep, she'll be there.
Cosplay entrepreneur. Okay. Svengoolie will be there.
Rich Cos?
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a good amount of guests that are coming.
Some great voice talent.
Yeah, some great voice talent too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not. Yeah, I don't think I'll head down. Maybe if
if it wasn't Rosemont, I'd go.
That doesn't bother me as much. It's just I'm not feeling it right now.
I'll be going to McCormick Place next month for a celebration anyway, so.
Here we go. The C2E2 Crown Championships of Cosplay. I didn't even know they had a thing like this.
I'm sure they have a cosplay contest.
Yeah, they do.
Championship.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Smack each other around with like a battle royal or something? Or?
Well, they usually have celebrity judges for the cosplay contest.
Yeah, best costume, that type of thing.
Presented by Singer. This is the final stop of the Reed Pop Global Championships Cosplay Competitive Series. They have a series for this? This is crazy. Needlework, armor, special effects. Okay. I've read enough. I'm not doing. Let's see. Global champion gets $5,000. These costumes probably cost more than $5,000.
Some of them do, I'm sure.
I know. That's why I'm like, wait. This is for like the global competition. It's $5,000. That doesn't seem like very much, given how supposedly this is supposed to be like a big deal. Wow, there's a lot of rules. Okay. I'm not reading this thing. Screw that.
Okay, I guess I'll start my Marvel watch.
Oh, you want to start there? Because I know we got something else to talk about.
We got some movies. We got a couple movies to talk about. At least I got three. I got my Marvel watch for this week, or last week, that is. Was after riding high from the Avengers, I'm down to my last three was Iron Man 3 and Thor 2.
Okay.
So it wasn't as much of a job as I thought it was going to be. At least I had some money on a Google Play account, so I was able to rent Iron Man 3 for free, pretty much.
Okay.
I forgot I had the money, so that was good. I got to see it for free, although I would have just gone on my sister's Netflix. But anyway, so Iron Man 3 it didn't have a better feel to it like I did with Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was better than I remember. Iron Man 3 just met expectations for me in both in theatrical and then seeing it. But of course, like I said, it's the only DVD of the MCU I don't have. Let's see, quick notes I have here. Yinsen from Iron Man 1 in that flashback from the 90s or whatever. Then we get to see the Iron Patriot because Don Cheadle, Rhodey was not in the Avengers, so this is a big buddy, almost like a buddy movie towards the end, with Rhodey and Tony. Some good action scenes. Some of the humor fell flat for me, especially that kid was just annoying at times. Some of that dialogue I wish should have been rewritten. It's just bad. The final battle was decent. It was cool for us to see all the Iron Man fanboys seeing all the different armors. Was cool, I'm sure. I'm not fond of the Mark 43 design where he has to be plugged all the little dots into his arms, so now he can get the pieces. He can do like sign language and the pieces will fly onto him, and I was not fond of that idea. The Aim Extremis Mandarin villain was fine. Guy Pearce was Killian, and he did a decent job. Ben Kingsley as the red herring was a bit of a letdown for me because I don't know, just we were misled. Ben Kingsley did all right. It's just the funny, it's just too unserious, sipping a Budweiser and saying, "Oh, it's just acting job, man." I still don't see the on-screen chemistry between Pepper and Tony. I don't see it. Gwyneth and Robert just don't have it on screen. Maybe just, I know, there was a Vogue interview with Gwyneth Paltrow, and she just said that after she's done after Endgame, so take that as you want. But she said she'll be happy to come back for more. But I like Iron Man 3 more as a whole, as a setup for future. I see it more. I appreciate it more now as part of the whole. This huge narrative, this journey that I'm going on now, is watching these in succession, twice a week, just as this one big story folds out. And I like the PTSD thing with Tony after almost getting sucked into a wormhole and throwing a nuclear bomb at the Chitauri or whatever. But it was still cool. Although this is still in my bottom 3. It wasn't horrible, it wasn't awful, but Iron Man 3 is just not by far my favorite. And then we get to Thor: The Dark World. Now, I really like the first Thor because, I like the whole fish out of water thing. I always talked last week about when he goes into the pet shop and he says, "I want a horse." But the first, then Thor has the distinction of being the first movie under the Marvel Studios banner, not Paramount. Mm-hmm. The comedy was kind of goofy to start. Like, she goes on this date with this guy, and then Darcy shows up, and then she shows him the thing that because she's looking for Thor again. I guess it's been almost 2 years since he left, and meanwhile Thor's fighting a good fight, bringing peace and order to the 9 realms. And we see the cool battle where he fights the Cronin at the beginning, just blam. It's like, who's next? And everyone surrenders. The battle at Asgard was cool. The jailbreak, tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak. I like that scene with the monster, and then the fight at Asgard with those. What I remember when in Homecoming they referenced those what they call those black hole grenades. Those were actually pretty cool. The funeral scene, Thor's mom. Yeah, you get the feels. That's the one part of the movie where I'm really into it. And of course, playing Thor and Loki moments, great Thor and Loki moments, and his death scene. Although it's been cheapened now by Ragnarok. I mean, they did the same thing, they played that out literally in that goofy little play at the beginning of Ragnarok, where it says, "I'll tell Father what you did today," and Loki goes, "I didn't do it for him." But there were still some great moments between Thor and Loki. And Loki, he was a terrible, terrible person in New York. And there's some people who think he was influenced by the Infinity Stone or by the Mind Stone in the Scepter. Nah. He does have some redeeming qualities. And in Thor 1, he's like, I was just trying to ruin Thor's big day, and now, I get this chance to rule instead. But still, and of course, when Thor hangs the hammer on the coat rack, I still just find that so immensely funny. When I think there was, I'm not sure. I had to look this up. Another person might have researched this, but I think Chris improv that, where he arrives at the apartment with everyone and he hangs the hammer on the coat rack when he walks in. I found that funny. The final battle with Malekith. Okay, that was dumb. I did not. It was Chris Eccleston is a good actor. I loved him when he was in that one season of Doctor Who. When the reboot happened, it was 95, I think it was. No, 2005. When Doctor Who was rebooted after all these years, and Chris Eccleston was the Doctor for one season, and he was good in it, and he was sorely misused. The character Malekith was just not used well at all. I think Killian from Iron Man 3 was used better than this Malekith guy.
This is an example of what I've been talking about. This is where, Iron Man and Thor are big Marvel characters, but they have their rogue gallery.
It's not as good.
And the other part,
I think we went into that last time.
DC has got them beat as far as rogues galleries for these huge heroes.
The problem is that, again, part of it is that they're hamstrung a little bit at the time when these movies happen because they don't have access to anything Spider-Man. They don't have access to anything X-Men. They don't have access to anything in terms of Fantastic Four. And I think even at that time, they may not have had access to anything Daredevil or Ghost Rider to make the point. And to me, you know, we've talked about this before, but this is why, like, you look at the 3 Thor movies, and it's like, there are some Thor villains. Unfortunately, usually what happens with Thor villains is they were all kind of created by Loki. And they're all kind of like, you know, they're all kind of like these groups, like the Wrecking Crew and stuff like that. The only major Thor villain outside of Loki would be Enchantress, and they decided not to do Enchantress. And they brought Hela out, which she's got some power level.
I thought Cate Blanchett was great as Hela.
Yeah, right. But the point being, this is another example of where, again, you know, you've got 2 characters where it's like, all right, what are we using?
And like, because they're one-off standalone films where, you know, Loki, he's had plenty of time to develop, and he's a great villain. He's probably the best villain, aside from Thanos, in this MCU. But the thing is you've got this one-off movie where you have to dispatch this villain. He doesn't have much time to develop, and we don't get to know him very much. And Malekith, he's hiding all of this makeup, saying, I will shroud the world in darkness. Like, okay, all right, that's your motivation. They'll use the ether. And, of course, this being the last time we see Jane Foster, and that didn't work. I guess Nat, I don't know why they parted ways. Maybe they just didn't know what to do with her anymore, but oh well.
I got the impression that Natalie Portman and Marvel were not getting along.
Okay, she was. There's
some of that going on.
They parted ways. Okay.
There's some of that too, where that's been. There was a little of that too, because I was surprised. I think could have been a couple places where they had her and they haven't. And I don't know what.
Thor should have gone with Sif. Sif is hotter. The 2 credit scenes. We see the Collector, and the first time in the MCU we mention the Infinity Stones, where the dwarf guy with the big beard and Sif are leaving the Reality Stone with the Collector, and he says 1 down, 6 to go. The other end credit scene is just dumb. It's like one of those frost giant monsters from Yoden Shamalaba Ding Dong Heim, where just running around in London. It's dumb. But, yeah, so they were definitely building something, and then next week we got fun. Next week is Winter Soldier and Guardians 1. So.
Oh, yeah, those are good movies.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is in my top 3, man.
Yeah, those are really good movies. I'm looking forward to discussing those 2 more than these 2.
I've seen that. I'm going to look forward to that, too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, it's funny, Mike, because the 2 movies you're talking about, between USA, TNT, and FX, those 2 movies are getting run. Those movies, Avengers is getting run a lot. Winter Soldier. There's a lot there. You know, if you're looking for these movies on TV, you can find them. Or I should say, basic cable. If you're looking for these movies on basic cable, they're around for you to find. Granted, you got to deal with commercials, but they're around. Because it's funny. You saw Iron Man 3 this week. Iron Man 3 was right there for you on FX. So if you wanted to watch it, it's there. I wonder if it's something that you can pick up on demand from FX.
Yeah, it probably would have been on demand, but, well, it's like I had my device ready, and so I was all like, okay, I want to play it. Where do I find it? Oh, it's right here, because I have Guardians 2 and Ragnarok on my Google Play account. So I was like, okay, it's probably there, and it's there. And I was like $2.99 to rent for 3 days. But I was like, oh, I already had like $7 on my Google Play account already. So I'm like, yay. So.
No, hey, absolutely.
Yeah, $2.99. What? I get you a coffee? Oh,
can we get to the main event? Do we have time to get to the main event now?
Yes, we have. We can make it. What are we at here? We're at just about an hour 20.
We can. I meant because I know you saw the movie and I know I saw the movie.
Yeah, I saw it twice, actually.
Okay, you saw it twice? I'm assuming Ivan did not see the movie.
Ivan,
What movie is this?
Captain Marvel.
I saw it.
You saw Captain Marvel? When?
Yeah. I saw it on Thursday.
Ah!
Thursday night?
Yeah.
Oh, splendid. Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Well, now this is really going to work out.
Okay, good. All right, so to our listeners, if you want, we are divulging major spoilers for Captain Marvel and maybe even some Endgame shit. So if you might want to step out now or fast forward maybe about 20 minutes or so, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ivan, why don't you give your impressions of Captain Marvel?
All right. Well, I can go ahead and number one, kudos to Marvel Disney, the opening scene where you see Stan Lee in all of the letters.
All the stands.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Stan. I mean, that was just marvelous. I mean, I wanted to yell Excelsior so loud in the theater, but I figure I have to control myself because it's
now
not to prompt it, but it was a marvel to behold.
Now, Ivan, you were watching this Thursday night, so it's the rabid fanboys. I didn't go till Friday night, and then I caught a Sunday matinee. Did you have a very vocal audience?
Where I was at, where I saw it, believe it or not, they weren't as rambunctious as maybe in other places, but there were some people. But as far as the way the movie was set up, where you got a lot of backstory in the beginning part of the motion picture, but then how it segued into the later events and the way it was written and the way it was presented, it was seamless. It really came together well.
Well, the story was not linear. It was told through Carol's eyes, where she doesn't remember her past, and this is how we follow her in this origin story, where she remembers who she was.
Exactly. You end up going back into the time where she was the pilot. And that she was with, and of course Annette Bening did a beautiful job.
Yeah, I'll get to Annette Bening later, but anyway, go ahead, Ivan.
But as far as me not being as heavy duty as you and Jeff are, but for me, a guy like me, I mean, seeing this on my own situation, it stands on its own merit, and it's a very powerful message. It's a very wonderfully done situation, and I mean the acting was stellar. The music was very exhilarating. The special effects from Industrial Light and Magic are always on par.
I thought there was it IDM? Was it?
Yes, it was. Okay. And then you had like it says, everything about the movie made it so worthwhile to go see it. I mean, it was exciting. The effects were great. The dialogue was great. The acting was really good. I mean, and the fight scenes, kept you at the edge of the chair. And for me, for a guy like me, yes. Would I see it again? Absolutely. And again. I was very impressed with it. As for me, I mean, I've had several of these experiences, Avengers, Black Panther, and Wonder Woman, and it seems like they're really putting out some stellar product out there at Marvel, So with that, I guess I'll hand the ball to you,
Jeff.
And Jeff.
Okay. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't put it as one of my top Marvel movies.
Neither would I.
It certainly did what it needed to do. Part of this is, Carol Danvers is a character that they've revamped quite a bit in the last 8 to 10 years. And a lot of what I know, I shouldn't even say that, in the last 20 years, they've revamped her quite a bit from anything I know about the character. And so, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know a lot of the history of this character like I know some of the others. I mean, the last biggest claim to fame that I know about Carol Danvers was back in the 80s when Rogue pretty much dissolved all of her powers into Rogue. And that's how Rogue got a lot of her abilities, at least in the comic books, is from that. And that there's always been that from that. I don't even know if that's considered current continuity in what's happened in the last 19 years or so. So that's kind of the key. And it's funny, from what I read about, Kelly Sue DeConnick is a phenomenal writer. She talks about how she wanted to kind of make Carol Danvers like a Chuck Yeager. Based on this description, I'll tell you, to me, what it kind of sounds like is we need Marvel's answer to the Green Lantern. And, kind of a Hal Jordan type kind of character. And Hal Jordan kind of does this, except Carol Danvers has a lot more attitude, and they've gone a little more over the top with it. But to me, when I read Chuck Yeager and, Fly by the Seat of Their Pants and a Flyboy and all that kind of stuff, to me it's like, okay, you basically just created the female version of Hal Jordan with some tweaks, at least in my opinion. I could be very wrong about it. It's funny, I know somebody who knows her very, very well and has had many conversations with her. And as a matter of fact, I would recommend, if you're looking for conversations on this, Kelly Sue DeConnick has a couple interviews with John Huntress from Word Balloon that you can go into their archives for free and find them. But to me, it was a good action movie. There was definitely some good laughs. I enjoyed it. I think in fairness, it's the last Marvel MCU movie that we had was back in the summer with Ant-Man Wasp, and I think there were a lot of people too who were ready for another MCU movie, and were curious about, how, especially considering the fact that Captain Marvel, we got the impression that she's going to play a huge role in Avengers Endgame, so I think there was a lot of interest with that too.
And also, the way that the movie comes together, and especially in the flashback scenes, how they went back in time and how they assembled that whole time frame. I mean, it gave it a feeling of familiarity, because you start looking at the scenes in the Blockbuster shop, and you start
the slow internet, the computers are so slow.
Right, you watch everything booting up, by the lines, and
she's seeing the progress bar. She's like, "What's happening?" And Sam's like, "Nick's just like, it's loading."
Yeah.
And it's so I have to, so that it gave me a real warm feel when you look back on that, you're like, I'm familiar with that. I was there, and it kind of draws you in a way towards that, and the choice of music, of course, as Marvel tends to be very stellar in their choice of music for their movies.
Yeah, I really like that whole record at the end credits.
Yes, I love that. The turntable spinning. The turntable spinning as he walks in.
That was Nirvana, but no, the whole record was during the end credits.
Oh, the one at the end.
Celebrity Skin.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, after 22 minutes of trailers.
Yeah.
And how many months since Ant-Man and the Wasp? Any trailers, before we get back to this discussion, any trailers catch your eye? You think you got to catch that for when they come out? I got to remember
what they are. I mean,
there's that animated one with Zach Galifianakis and Hugh Jackman and the Yeti.
Didn't get that one.
I did get that one. Yeah, that was the same studio that made Kubo and the Two Strings. It's an animated film.
I saw the rushes to that.
Yeah. That one looks cute. No, I'll see that.
I don't know. That's a maybe. That's more of a $5 movie day for me on that one.
It's funny though when they have this movie and it's the press that's behind it and this Me Too movement. Now, I don't even want to get into the politics, all that shit. But the first trailer, when you want to see Captain Marvel and all this girl power stuff, and the first trailer they show is that Fast and Furious one with Jason Statham and Dwayne The Rock Johnson is just dripping with testosterone. I was like, oh, this movie's not for most of these girls. Anyway,
I'm trying to remember. If
I thought that Enterprise was done already. I mean, I thought with the last movie that Fast and Furious did, I thought
we're just taking The Rock's character and putting it in a different situation. And Idris Elba would be good. I'm sure he's a good actor.
And by the way, Ivan, that's where the falling out between Vin Diesel and The Rock is taking place. Is because a lot of those guys are mad. They would rather be doing another Fast and Furious movie. They're not done with Fast and Furious movies. They want to keep making Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, but Vin and The Rock are not getting along. They're not playing nice.
Okay. So that's why they got Jason in this one?
Jason Statham. No, it's just like a one-off story with Dwayne's character from.
Because I love Jason. I love Jason in the Transporter. That was a great series.
I don't know if it's the same dude. I think it's a different.
It is. It's the same guy.
Anyway, the trailers. After watching all these damn trailers, we finally got to my movie. And I've been reading her books for a couple of years now, and it's it has a bit of a bias for me, not Transformers level bias, but it earns maybe half of a yeah man just for seeing Carol Danvers kick some ass on screen. This fits in the timeline right between the first Cap and the first Iron Man. So my first reaction, it was cool. It was effing cool. Music grew on me on the second watch. I think some of it was predictable. I think the Nirvana song during the...
because they were going for the 90s...
when 90s, obviously, wearing the Nine Inch Nails t-shirt, grunge is a good look for you, and the Nirvana song during when she was forced to commune with the Supreme Intelligence.
The hard t-shirt.
Was a little too on point for 90s. We're going for a 90s movie, but I was fine with it. It certainly met my expectations. That had heart, it had humor, it had spectacle, had some feels. Now being not like more than a casual Marvel enthusiast. Ivan, you and I have a mutual friend who's a big Captain America guy, and he just refused to sympathize with the Skrulls. Now, the Skrulls were portrayed, this Kree-Skrull war, which we knew was going to be the backdrop of this Captain Marvel movie, because we are in Cosmic Marvel, that the Skrulls are at war with the Kree. And the Skrulls are portrayed as they're on the losing side of the war right now. That may change later. We may get a Secret Invasion movie down the line. We'll see. But, yeah, some people just didn't like the changing of Marvel. Here we get to with Annette Bening. I thought Annette Bening was going to be a character named Helen Cobb, who was a World War II pilot who was a role model for Carol. But that's not who she was. She turned out to be this. She turned out to be Marvel. And that was neat how it gets played.
I guess
she isn't called that. Nick Fury does just everyone calls me Fury. But,
which I have to say, he did play that role well.
Oh yeah, it was great seeing, and the de-aging worked for me. I was looking at Coulson and Nick Fury, saying like, "Wow, they doing a good job with the de-aging of the faces for those two." I wanted more scenes. I wanted more scenes on Hala, where this development. I don't think maybe a couple of deleted scenes will give me a bit of more of that juice, some of that those character moments between Veers and Yanrog, who's played by Jude Law. Because Yanrog was not a horrible villain. He's fighting the good fight, and like the first time, Ronan the Accuser, which we will see in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, saying, "Oh, the Skrulls are there. Will they nuke the planet?" And he's like, "No, not yet." It's not until he finds out that the jig is up and Carol knows that he's the one who killed Marvel, where then he's all like, "Okay, yep, take out the Skrulls, the infestation." Yeah, but I was a little disappointed with how they played into it, where they kind of was like she was like a spiritual, where she played Dr. Lawson, who was originally Marvel, was a dude. Mr. Lawson was originally Captain Marvel or Marvel in disguise on Earth. So I like that. Of course, the Stan Lee cameo. I know, and when first time I saw it in the theater, I didn't catch what he was reading. I didn't until I got home. Then I was like, oh, he's Mallrats, because that's the movie that was out in '95, and it was so awesome. And Kevin Smith put up a YouTube video today about how he found out about it, how Kevin Feige called him a couple months earlier about what they're going to do, and they got some sound checks because they filmed this a couple of months before Stan Lee passed away, and his voice was just not there. So he asked Kevin about getting some alternate takes from his lines. So he said you have to go to Universal for that, because those were Stan Lee's lines from when he said it from Mallrats from '95. Right. But that was, and you know he puts the script down and he looks up and she smiles down at him. That got me.
Yeah.
I liked Mendelsohn as director Krennic as Talos the Skrull. Mm-hmm. He was great. Mm-hmm. Sam Jackson, and of course the guy Nick Coulson. Yay! But I think Brie did a good job. I don't know who would do a better job, and I don't care. We have Brie Larson, and she's awesome.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. My inner fanboy had some legit problems, but they're minor in the whole grand scheme because the MCU is doing their own thing. It's not comic thing issue 673. But anyway, no. Loved it.
All right.
It made over the top great motion picture.
Out of 5 mans, Ivan, what do you give it?
I would give it 4 3/4.
Really? What was that 1/4 that you didn't like?
Okay, I just thought that the final scene after the credits, I don't know where the
cat. I mean, the Flurkin.
Yeah, the Flurkin decides to cough up the I was like, okay.
Well, it's got to pop up sometime between the time Howard Stark pulls out of the ocean and Avengers.
Okay, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, at least it's not as bad as a giant ant playing drums.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay.
Okay.
So, 4 3/4. Jeff, what do you give it out of 5 mans?
I would give it 3.5.
Okay.
I would give it 3.5. What about you, Mike?
I would give it a 3.5, but seeing Carol on the screen, I give it 4 out of 5 mans.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be honest, Captain Marvel was never one of my characters as a kid that I geeked out over. I will admit, anytime Spider-Man's on the screen, I will have ridiculous bias.
Oh, and we got to see the Far From Home trailer on the big screen too.
Yeah.
I saw that too, and I'm kind of anxious to do that.
I was grooving in my chair.
All right, so now that we've gotten through this, now come my questions about this movie and how it fits with the MCU. Okay? These are the things that kept flying through my mind as I'm watching this. Okay? Let's start with the obvious.
Okay. Let's start at the beginning. Excellent place to start.
Let's start here. On Fury, there's a giant freaking wormhole that is opened over New York City with hordes and hordes of Chitauri coming through it. Okay? And you've seen that so far, your Avengers initiative, not working.
Oh, really? Did you have a problem with the name The Avengers?
No, not as much.
For call sign? No. I saw it. I was like, I'm fine with it, but I knew when it happened, I'm like, oh shit, the fanboys are going to have it.
I do find it kind of lame. I always kind of think of Captain America as the real first Avenger, but
I'm not the first Avenger. Anyway, so you're right. But the thing is that the Avengers had it under control. That's why he wasn't calling for the nuke yet. It's like, don't nuke the city yet.
True. Right. But there's just a part of me where there's this wormhole that they can't seem to close. And I can't help but think, I got a pager to this person who can pretty much take out the entire freaking wormhole of guys. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
Maybe Feige and the Russo brothers weren't thinking of that back in 2012, 2011, when the film was made.
Okay. Well, that's...
When the film was being made, Carol Danvers was not Captain Marvel yet.
Well, there's part of that, too, but the point... No, yes, she was.
No, 2012. She took the reins of Captain Marvel in 2012.
Right, but not based on the timeline. In the movie, this is the mid-90s.
Yeah, I know.
Again,
in IRL, in real life.
Trust me. Again, I'm playing with the MCU timeline. I'm looking at it from an MCU timeline, and I had this argument with a couple friends online. They're like, "Who says she did? He didn't." I don't know. I would just think if I saw a giant wormhole over New York City with a whole bunch of freaking Chitauri aliens coming through it, I might want to use the pager.
The Avengers had it under control in a portion of New York City yet. This hadn't spread beyond the boundaries of New York City yet. They were fighting within a few city blocks.
It was centralized in that area.
So let's take this to your perspective. So Nick Fury was good with Tony Stark sacrificing himself to go through the wormhole and deliver the nuke, when he knows damn well he can pick up the pager and get Captain Marvel.
How fast would she have gotten there?
That's the question I keep getting from people.
Yeah.
That's the question that keeps coming up, that I will at least give you that. I won't even get into... Then there's Infinity War, to which everybody's like, well, how's Nick Fury new? I don't know. Were you watching the news? Do you get the internet? Do you have a TV? There's a flying thing over New York. Take a wild guess who that might be. I don't know. The Avengers have got it handled. I'm like, really?
What do you mean when the donut shows up?
Yeah.
And Law shows up and takes Doctor Strange, and that's it? Then he leaves? That's it.
Well, there's that, yeah. But then they show up again in the atmosphere, and it's not like,
Well, that's when the post-credit scene explained that, there's some shit going on over Wakanda. Holy crap, we just crashed into a guy, and there's no car, there's no guy. So that's when he's all like, oh, shit.
Well, again, like I said, I'm just kind of looking at this going, I got the ultimate weapon, and I'm not thinking about it.
I'm not using it.
I'm not using it. Okay, now comes the next question. So you got Ronan, who is in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, okay? He's in there. So obviously he's aware of Captain Marvel. Obviously Carol Danvers is a part of whatever happens with this Skrull-Kree war, okay? And supposedly, with her being as much of a badass as she is, how is it that the Guardians of the Galaxy don't know anything about her?
They're doing their own thing.
I guess.
I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy, aren't they a rogue bunch all their own anyway?
Yeah.
I understand that, but you're talking about...
But she's just out there... She's just out there trying to find a home for these Skrulls.
I guess. Right. Yeah, but
she's all like...
to attack the Kree.
Well, she's obviously not going to confront the Kree straight on.
Why? She did it. She does it in the movie.
Well, she took on the one accuser ship, and then she's all like, warned the guy, and is like, all right, let's get out of Dodge.
Okay, let's put this in perspective. Okay?
Okay.
He took on 3 of those ships. There were 3 of them in the atmosphere for Earth. Okay? There was 1 for Nova Prime, and all the Nova Prime defense could not stop that ship from getting to the ground.
Yeah. Those were the planetary defenses.
Right. I would say that the Nova Prime planetary defenses were pretty damn impressive. I mean, again, I know this. See, this is the part where I'm enjoying the fanboyism of this, but I am going to point out some of this MCU logic whole problem. Just like there are questions where it's like, okay, so Howard Stark gave Marvel the cube.
Yeah, we're not sure how she gets the cube. That isn't explained.
Right, that's the question. And we know that the cube is on Earth because we know that they recover it long before they find Captain America. Long before they find Captain America. They recover the cube in...
probably within months after after his wing crashes in the Arctic.
Right, exactly.
In the meanwhile, S.H.I.E.L.D. is developing weapons, but the thing is that the Tesseract contains the Space Stone, and Captain Marvel is powered by the explosion, which was an engine powered by the Space Stone or the Tesseract.
Right. Which begs the question. If you have any idea of how the first one happened, why wouldn't you try to create more heroes like that? Now, maybe they do. Maybe they do try. I have no idea.
Maybe it's too dangerous. People died.
Maybe.
There was a unique case where instead of, and she was dying, which is why she's a Kree-human hybrid now, because Yanrog gave her a transfusion. That's why her blood is bluish-green.
Right. Well, again, like I said, there's certain things about this. Like, okay, so how did Marvel?
But then she also fired upon the craft and took in all that energy, which gave her powers.
Possibility. Well, again, like I said, to me the interesting part is, okay, like I said, here's story plot points where it's like, here's where things could get interesting, which is, how does that happen? How does the Tesseract fall into the hands of Marvel? Because as we're all aware, we know where it originally is. So obviously, somehow the government has given it, Stark has given it to them. I don't know. Again, this is just me.
It's not explained.
Yeah.
Currently, in this timeline, it's the only Infinity Stone that's on Earth right now.
Right. Then let's get to the fun part. And this is the other one I get brought on, and we'll go to this, which is, so we know that the Avengers Initiative is created in 1995. The Avengers Initiative really is not being start to be put together until 2008, the first time Iron Man shows up.
So it's almost a whole...
You're talking 30 years.
I just presume that Cap was... We don't know exactly when Captain America was unfrozen. Was it before or after Tony announces that he's Iron Man?
That's fair. That's a very good question. That's a very interesting point. I get the impression it's around the same time, though, just based on how it's portrayed. But now the other thing I keep hearing from people is, well, it took a long time for Nick Fury. He's not a commander at that point. He's a field agent.
Yeah, he's not Director Fury.
Yeah, he's not Director Fury and all that stuff. My comment is, you mean to tell me that considering the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is now aware that there are people out in the stars beyond us, that is not something that they are looking at, considering, or wanting to deal with for the next 13 years? You mean to tell me that at no point that they're thinking about? I mean, really, in reality, when you stop and think about it, Avengers is when? 2012?
2012 was the Avengers.
2012. So really, in reality, you're talking from 1985
to 2012, which is
2012. You're talking, no, it's more than 12 years. You're talking about almost 20.
17.
Is it 17? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, now if to me, that's a great place for Disney to create story for Disney Plus, in my opinion. And I'd be interested in watching what happens to get the Avengers Initiative off the ground. That's me. I would be interested in seeing what happens with that if they did a good job with it. That would be interesting to me. But
maybe in animated form.
Maybe. And you know what? They could do it in an animated form.
Yeah, that way you're not paying millions of dollars to de-age all these A-list actors.
The other thing I'm curious about is this, and Ivan wouldn't know this, but I know, Mike, you will, which is, so Monica Rambeau, which is the daughter, Ivan, do you know why she's significant?
Lieutenant Trouble.
Lieutenant Trouble? Do you know why she's significant?
Why?
Well, because in the 80s, Lieutenant Trouble, Monica Rambeau, becomes Captain Marvel in the 80s. And later on, apparently now, is somebody called Photon. Now, I'm not as up on current continuity.
I thought she was Spectrum.
Or is it Spectrum? I don't. Yeah. The point being is she is still in the hero continuity. Yeah. So I'm curious to see.
And I like that callback, whereas her friend call sign was Photon.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting to see because I have two thoughts on this, which is I'm curious if they age Monica and put her in S.H.I.E.L.D. for Endgame, and I'm curious if the next Captain Marvel movie isn't set still in the 90s or the early 2000s or something like that.
I think maybe the way the Captain Marvel movie was designed was that certain elements are going to be explained in a whole nother movie frame. It could be a whole nother. In other words, it's maybe a case of all those questions that you are wondering about will be answered in the next movie. You know, do you think maybe that might be
this will be the first, and as far as we know, this will be the first time in almost 20 years Carol's returned to Earth. So I'm sure she's going to want to pay her friend a visit.
Well, so here's the question. That begs the question. Is it the first time she's returned to Earth, or it's the first time we're aware she's returned to Earth?
Exactly.
And
it might have been back. Who knows?
Right. That's why I think that's one of the, to me, you know, Feige's talked about the timelines and continuities and how they're not going to be as rigid. And I wonder if one of the reasons they're not going to be as rigid is, like, for example, maybe the three Captain Marvel movies take place, the other two Captain Marvel movies all take place going in towards 2008 so that you can fill in those gaps.
Right.
So, about all that. That's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know that they're going to move Captain Marvel all the way into the 2000s or how they're going to do that. That's a legit question.
But you would think that would be a feasible way to go ahead and work all those empty spaces in and fill in all that. That's
right.
That's
there's still some storytelling to be told in those large gaps there.
Yep.
Right. I think it was meant to happen the way it was written.
So the house lights went up, and I'm like, okay, how many days till Endgame?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So let's. All right. So I do have one other thing, or do we want to talk first about the post-credit stuff?
What's your one other thing?
My one other thing is this: in terms of the MCU, would we agree that essentially Captain Marvel is the most powerful of all the characters in all the MCU by far?
Currently.
By far.
Currently.
Right. Currently, by far, she is the most powerful.
That may change.
I understand.
Yeah. But currently, when she could just fly through a ship and destroy it, like, oh man.
Let me put this in perspective. Do we think the Hulk could go toe-to-toe with Captain Marvel right now?
No.
Yeah, see, that's my point. Just like I don't think Thor could go toe-to-toe with her.
No, she's going to fly a hole through Thanos right now.
Right. I mean, I think that this is what I'm getting at is I'm looking at this and I'm just like it was funny. One of the comments from a critic before that anybody really got to see the movie is Thanos is going to get his ass kicked. And now I understand the comment because she pretty much takes out 3 warships without even blinking an eye. And it's like, you know.
Look at the power that's driving that force.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure he absorbs. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're fine.
Whereas her power comes from absorbing energy.
Okay.
So then, obviously, energy can't be destroyed; it can be dispersed. But like I said, right at this point, she's close to boundless energy.
I mean, would we? Let's try this. MCU Avengers versus Captain Marvel. Do MCU Avengers even come close to a tie?
Oh, you can't pit heroes against heroes. They do that all the time.
I'm making a point.
I know.
I mean, to the power level of where she's at
right now.
Well, basically you're trying to make a comparison against, the Hulk or against Thor, against all that, and
maybe Thor, but because he's a demigod, maybe Thor, but the others are toast. No, I think Falcon could take her out.
Yeah, okay. How about Ant-Man?
Come on.
I'm looking at Ant-Man for sure.
Yeah, he'll just change the color of her suit
She'll
change the color of her suit. He'll fly in and change the color of her suit. I would like that scene too.
Well,
I like that.
We'll hide in her suit and go, "This is your conscience."
That's right.
You don't hear it very often, which is a great scene from Civil War. I guess to me, I just kind of laugh because when I watched Justice League, the Justice League movie that they had come out, it's like you had the Justice League, and then there's Superman.
Yeah.
And Superman outclasses practically the entire Justice League. And I almost feel like when Captain Marvel's going to show up at Endgame, it's going to be like Captain Marvel and, oh yeah, here are the Avengers. Yeah. It shouldn't be that bad.
Well, we'll see.
But in fact, it just might be.
Somehow, we'll see, because as far as we know, the Thanos still has the Infinity Stones. The Gauntlet's been heavily damaged, maybe destroyed. We'll see, because one thing we know is that he has the Space Stone. The Space Stone, that's where she got her powers. He might have some influence over that.
Maybe. You got a point. Like I said, I like, for example, I'm watching the end of the movie with the fight, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it and going, I'm thinking about the fight in Wakanda, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, she pretty much could have, without even blinking.
Well, that's the same thing with.
Could have leveled everything in her way.
It's like with Scarlet Witch. She was up there the whole time.
No, I think she'd have made Scarlet Witch look like nothing. Yeah. I mean, that's my point. I mean, she took on 3 of those freaking Kree battle cruisers, and it was like, she's like, next. I mean,
yep.
Those doors open, and literally, I think that pretty much she'd snap her fingers and they'd all be gone.
It just goes right down that she has become a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Right. I understand where you're coming from, Mike. I think right now, you're right. There are other characters that can be as powerful that could be coming to the MCU, and I can think of a few off the top of my head. I'm just thinking from a perspective of when you make somebody to that level, now you have to create, just from my perspective, one of the things that people don't like about Superman is then you have to create real storytelling with Superman and show people his humanity and all the things that he can't fix. And I think that's going to have to be where you go with Carol Danvers, because you've made her.
It's because she's all powerful, but remember, it's about her emotions. She has to keep her emotions in check.
Well, I think that was just Yanrog playing with.
Yeah, but I think that's the fallacy in her, is the fact that she's got in other words, she can't let things get into her head, or if she feels it too much or she feels for it, then that tends to
it's true.
Their power.
And we did get speaking of keeping things in check, I did see the Dark Phoenix trailer on the big screen.
That was good.
Everyone was all like,
yeah, that looks good. That looks good too.
So, that's what, July or May or June?
Is it?
I think it was July.
Spider-Man's July.
Yeah.
So I think it's June. I think they might be trying to get Spider-Man beat him at the pass as far as it was. Anyway, I loved it. I might even see it a third time. Go ahead.
Any thoughts on the trailer at all?
Oh, this looks
dark. Not the trailer, the post-credit, the Avengers.
Oh, the post-credit scene. Oh, yeah, it was great to see Cap and everyone. And when she turned, the thing is that she sneaks up on him. Mm-hmm. Her subtlety is not her strong suit.
No.
She just turns around and she's like, "Where's Fury?" I'm like, "Oh man!" But it's like, well, that's really not how she operates. She's not a spy. She's not covert. How do you sneak up on Black Widow?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but that was great. It was great for the gas moment. But
the only other thing I saw fan theory, and it is kind of amusing. You know how Fury talks about how he won't have toast that's cut in triangles? Well, apparently somebody went back to Age of Ultron where he's eating the sandwich, and he cuts it diagonally so they're in triangles.
Yes. Thanks to our one of our viewers on Facebook, John. We appreciate you shouting that out. I posted the picture about the Skrull and Sam Jackson's character from Pulp Fiction sipping out of the same cup.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
But
so, it's possible that the Skrulls might be around at the time of Ultron.
I'm sorry. That's the only other thing I want to bring up is I will agree. It was weird to have to feel sorry for the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Having read enough comic books over the years, it's like,
nope, Skrulls can't. Skrulls bad. Skrulls very bad.
Skrulls are bad. Skrulls are bad. I'm sorry, you're not.
And then here comes Captain Marvel. Oh look, Skrulls not so bad.
Yeah, it's like Skrulls not so bad. Yeah, no, they're bad.
But it helped bring some weight to that with Director Krennic as the Skrull leader.
Yeah, I know. That's like I said. And then obviously the cat was a thing that everybody seemed to enjoy. So.
Yeah. My viewing audience, when I saw it Friday, they loved it. They cheered. Mm-hmm. So we applauded.
Yeah, they loved it.
I had a very receptive audience when I saw it Friday. Sunday morning, everyone was quiet. So it's Sunday.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna be.
I saw it Saturday morning. Everybody was pretty much in good spirits, and everybody kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't real ruckus, but it wasn't real quiet either.
No fanboys threw their bucket on popcorn on the floor saying "It ruined forever."
No, I try to avoid that.
Yeah, then there was all this bullshit about Rotten Tomatoes and how they had removed their rating system or whatever because all these misogynistic trolls were leaving negative reviews when they hadn't seen the film yet, and so whatever. So they can go.
I tried to avoid all of that.
They can go suck an egg. I enjoyed it. So.
Oh, the only other thing I'll bring up.
I thought it was a great, and like I said, since I'm I'm probably the less of the three of us here, but based upon just I guess a common man's view of a movie on its own merit. I'd see it again. And I just found that anybody, I mean, if you're a great Marvel fan or not, I think you just need to go see it and check it out for yourself.
It's a good movie. It stands on its own. It stands on its own. You don't have to know a lot. You can understand the movie. It's pretty straightforward.
Well, it engages you. It does engage you. It brings you in, and it holds you. And there's enough of everything to make the continuity just, like I said, it's a seamless continuity from start to finish. You have an understanding of what's going on the screen and how everything, is comes together, and so that's why that happened.
I think maybe to the casual, I think the beginning scenes on Hala might be confusing to people.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't have her memories, so.
Right. But then, once you start getting into it and then you start going back into her memories, they're like, now I got it. Okay. And that comes, and that it's a hook that brings you back. So, quoting.
I'm not worried about Brie Larson. She found a part-time job if she gets into trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Apparently, I don't know if they arranged it with AMC or she literally just did it on her own. Where apparently she showed up at a movie theater on Saturday night and helped dish out like popcorn and sodas and stuff, and showed up before the movie started. Just kind of like casually walked in and
wearing the colors. Yeah, so
wearing the colors, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, how come that never happened?
Yeah.
That never happens here. But
that was very cool.
That's good stuff.
That's one thing. What the like you see the video on YouTube, where Tom Holland visits the sick kids in the hospital, and he's doing backflips because he's so athletic, and he's Spider-Man, and it's great. It's awesome.
They're just embodying the mantra of Stan Lee, and they're just extending and expounding upon that, and it shows up in the writing. And it shows up in the way the movies are put together. So I think Stan set the bar for everybody from now until I guess forever are going to follow. And I think in many ways that's a wonderful thing, because we all love our heroes. Sometimes we think of our heroes as they can't be broke down, but Stan gives you the feeling, you know what, heroes have bad days too. Heroes have bad situations too. They have emotions too. They're flesh and bone. Yeah. And whether their blood is red, green, purple, or orange, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Over the weekend, I rewatched the scenes with him in Mallrats just to get perspective.
Yeah, Mallrats is a good movie. I always enjoyed Mallrats.
Yeah.
That's it's once again everybody stroking Kevin Smith's ego, but okay, that's fine. It made sense for what they were doing. Before we go into wacky news, I did see something kind of amusing. So, I guess Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson are doing a sequel to The Hitman.
Okay. You saw it?
I saw it. It was good. I mean, it's been out for a while now, but it's good. I enjoyed it. It was funny. But the reason I'm mentioning this is, one of the people who they picked up, for an actor in the second movie to be in the movie with them, Morgan Freeman.
Oh, he's getting up there in age.
Well, let's be honest. Quick, Morgan. You see all those things about who you want your story narrated by, and usually Samuel L. Jackson or Morgan.
Yeah, Freeman. Or Morgan Freeman. Yes.
They're putting the same movie. It's like the only people you're missing is Patrick Stewart and freaking James Earl Jones. I mean that to me was the part I was looking at going, you're going to put that, they should just have like a voice off right there.
That's like what commercial was that when Malcolm McDowell and James Earl Jones were reading like texts from people?
Oh, is that a commercial?
That was a commercial. Well, those two were
not Jimmy Kimmel has that stuff where he does that, where he has people read texts.
No, not just angry fan mail, but just like they're like texting each other, like saying like, "That's totes my goats," that stuff.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I don't know. I haven't seen The Hitman, so I don't know. Maybe I'll catch it.
It's a good watch. It's funny. I mean, it's not definitely R-rated.
This is already turning into 2018. I mean, we got these good movies coming up. Seems like one or two a month already now. Shit.
Yeah, we're starting to get there again.
I know.
Well, there is a movie I want to see, and I couldn't think of the title last week. I found out it's about the life of Buddy Bolden, who of course was a mythical jazz player. He never got a chance to record, but according to New Orleans music lore, he was like this legendary player, of which guys like King Oliver, Louis Armstrong, and Freddie Capar, ended up learning from him and kind of, taking his teachings into the next century, because it happened, before the 20th century. And that's a movie I want to see. Wynton Marsalis is going to be playing the lead role.
No, Buddy Bolden. The movie name is Bolden. It's comes out May 3rd. I got it right up here. Michael Rooker's in it. He's obviously the guy from The Walking Dead, and of course Yondu. But yes, comes New Orleans cornet player Buddy Bolden becomes a key figure in the birth of jazz, influencing countless musicians for decades to come. Yep, comes out in May. His name is Bolden. The name of the movie is Bolden.
The name of the movie is Bolden. Okay, well, I want to see that. I hope they give it a much wider run than they did the Stan and Laurel movie. I'm real disappointed at the fact that they short ran that movie. I think more people would have benefited from that motion picture than they did. I just, that's going to end up becoming a DVD revisited section of our show, and that type of thing.
Okay.
Also too, I just wanted to shoot off an idea with you guys about doing a thing called Animation Revisited, because I unearthed a whole bunch of my old DVDs with some of my favorite animated shorts, like Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, that type of thing.
Well, you just talk about what you watched. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is what I watched. Doesn't have to be a segment. Just say this is what I watched.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. I was unearthing. Okay, getting back to that, unearthing a bunch of my old DVDs. I found all 5 seasons of my Teen Titans, which I'm gonna. Yeah, but I'm not talking about the later cartoon Teen Titans. No, I'm talking about the
Not
real.
Go, yeah.
Yeah, the real Teen
That's the
Titans.
theme, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know.
When
Yeah, we got the Puppy Amiyumi. Yeah, the Puppy Amiyumi. And then, so I came across one that was called Batman Beyond. It was Return of the Joker, Paul Dini.
Oh, yeah, that's the one feature movie from that.
Yeah, and, it was interesting, because I had forgotten about Tim Drake. I'd forgotten about the other Robins that were in there, how they spoke about Nightwing going to another city to start his name up, seeing Bruce Wayne and everyone so much elderly now, and then here it is, Joker, he's just never aged at all because he ended up, I'm not going to give spoilers, but yeah, and then of course Mark Hamill, voicing the Joker, Andrea Romano, who does a stellar job with the voice castings of all these people. There was a number of great voice actors in that movie, which I like the look. I like the look of the Warner Brothers animation.
Yeah, Warner Brothers got their shit together as far as animated DC stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They did.
Oh yeah. Without question.
Yeah.
Next week, I don't want to do it now. There are a couple of things I definitely want to talk about next week. It looks like there's going to be some massive changes in what CW is going to do with some of their DC shows about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I get the impression, because apparently there's an announcement that next season there's going to be 10 episodes of Arrow and that's it. And they're done. Which is interesting. And then I've heard some stuff about, they're going to use this Crisis of Infinite Earth thing as possibly a reboot, for some of these series to freshen some of these things up or to change out certain series. So I'll be curious to see where this all goes. But yeah. Is it time for the other thing at this point, I guess?
Yes, but we are already like 2:15 in, so let's not make it a 3-hour show.
Okay. All right. Do you want to maybe just do the ones from Scott then? I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff here that could be funny, but I don't.
Well, I'll throw one out that Scott put in.
Okay.
Because we appreciate our listener, Scott.
Yes, we do.
Bringing these awesome stories to us. We appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes. It's on you send us these crazy stories. We're on the Squares Are On Table Facebook page. We very much appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
So, so Scott has one here.
All right, Mr. Brown.
And he posted one that you did, actually, so I'll save that for you. So we have another one from CBS New York. A couple was caught having sex in a resort hot tub, but that's not the end of it. They then escape in a squad car.
Why?
Police say a couple was caught having sex in Ohio's Kalahari Resort and then escaped in a squad car.
Oh, Ohio, of course.
Okay.
Camden Mack of 25 of Ann Arbor and Taylor Coates, 22, also of Michigan, were arrested last night around 8:15 p.m. The Register reports that Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded. Oh, this is in Erie. Is it in Erie, Pennsylvania, or no?
Erie. I think there is an Erie County or
okay.
Ohio. I don't know.
Yeah. It's in Ohio. The Register reports that Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded to Kalahari after a lifeguard reported catching a man and woman having intercourse in a hot tub at a resort. So then, Mack reportedly became irate after being confronted by the lifeguard and started swearing at security officers and deputies. Deputies say at one point Mack and Coates tried to run from security guards. Then, a while in the back of the police car, Mack also allegedly opened an unlocked door and took off running. The Register says Mack is being charged with felony escape and misdemeanor persistent or disorderly conduct and criminal trespassing. Coates is also being charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct and criminal trespassing. That's it. So they tried to escape in a squad car.
Oh my gosh! In other words, a fucking run. I mean,
tried
really.
to run, but they didn't get far.
Well,
having sex in the hot tub.
Here's the real question.
What's that?
Did this guy leave the keys in the car that they were able to
The
get
cop
away?
left an unlocked door. That's dumb.
Does that mean the keys were in there? Because you can't just.
The keys had to have been left in there in order to unlock the door.
I've noticed most times cops leave their keys in the car and running.
Right.
Well, then, okay, if you're smart enough to double back. And the only thing is at some point when you're driving the car, you better realize you got to get out of the car at some point and ditch it to go somewhere else. Along those lines, I think this story pairs right with it, which is that naturalists break a world record for most naked people on a roller coaster. Blackpool's Pleasure Beach saw 200 naked riders gather to board the Grand National roller coaster in hopes of beating a world record. British naturalists stripped down to break the record of the most naked people on a roller coaster. First of all, the vinyl with your sweaty butt, you're going to lose skin.
You better not hope it's 80 degrees outside, man.
And that's the other thing. In Britain, it can rain. They easily broke the previous record of 102 people set in 2010, which is Adventure Island's theme park, the Grand Scream. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, they have pictures of these people, and this reminds me, these are all the people who no longer go to the French place we talked about.
Like the Riviera?
No, the French restaurant that they were all naked at every.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, they closed that for a couple of months because they're average people. They're not like they're not like beautiful people. You want to see gorgeously cut. Models.
I mean, there are a couple of girls here that I'm like, oh, maybe. But then there's the old guy that's there, and when I say old, I mean like wrinkly. It's like, oh.
And it's like everything just sags, man.
Covered in gray body hair.
Yeah.
His nutsack past his knees,
Well, they don't show that, thank God, but it is funny because one of the pictures they show is some old guy with a gray-haired mohawk. And I'm like, what? This is just, Anyway, what do you got?
Yeah, some of these people are in it just to go natural, just to try and.
Well, it's just shock factor. It's just it's a shock factor.
Well, like I said,
that would be something I would do.
Yeah, but you'd be smart enough to make sure there's a towel there when you got up, because otherwise, it's going to get taken away from that seat, and like when you it's like when you sit in the car and you're wearing shorts and.
And then when you get off the vinyl, then everything just goes.
You're like, oh my God, I think I just lost half my skin.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
I'll do one other here, and I think I'll turn the rest over to you.
Okay.
This is also from 1010. I think, you know what? I think our buddy Scott does live in New York. That's where a lot of these stories are coming from.
Well, he does.
New York news sites. A dominatrix is complaining because neighbors are bullying her out of a neighborhood.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
crack the whip.
Charlotte Taylor runs a dominatrix school out of her home in Bed-Stuy, which is
That's great.
Bed-Stuy. That's the name of, her neighborhood, I guess, or the city. Stuy. Bed-Stuy. And says her neighbors are trying to give her the boot. Obviously, because residents call her Quincy Street Business a sex club, and Taylor said block leader Lori Miller screams at her associates, calling them filthy and weirdos. Taylor explains, every time she is screaming, we have to cancel workshops. People who come to kink shops or want to get involved in the kink scene don't want to walk in if there's someone screaming outside looking at them. And this is people's livelihood. They are leaving because they don't want cops outside or this lady is screaming, and I understand them. Taylor insists that no sex takes place there. All she wanted to do was build a center for kink culture.
Right. Which, I mean, as far as the sex service, I guess like anything else, it's got its place. But but if you go in somewhere where it's concentrated, where you got a lot of people around you.
No sex is supposed to take place at strip clubs, but no one wants a strip club on their block.
Well, that's true. It's because it's the stigma.
That's not true. I want to
maybe Jeff does. Well, in Jeff's neighborhood.
Clubs on every corner. That's Jeff.
Jeff can just come to, go down the stairs and walk out the front door and head right. Hey, here I am.
Yep.
Yeah. I got a lot of money and I'm not afraid to use it.
That's right.
I want a yearly pass at that.
I got a bunch of $1 bills and I'm ready to stuff them.
That's right. I'm ready to stuff these bills down.
Yeah. Well.
So she's having trouble with keeping clientele because her neighbors are just like screaming up a mess. So Taylor says she plans to leave because she doesn't want to, quote, mess up the community. She has to set up a GoFundMe to cover the cost of moving her business's sex toys and mahogany throne.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Nothing says homie like a mahogany throne.
Hey, she could go ahead and move into Chicago where we got a three-story place that's like that down at the other side of town. Mind you, 3 stories, and in every room there's an adventure to be had. And you can have as many as 12 women, but you better make sure you got the money to pay for them.
Mm. The only other thing I can tell you about that is that at least the custodial stuff gets paid well there.
That's right.
For at least they should. All right. Flat earthers spend $20,000 trying to prove that the Earth is flat and accidentally prove that it's round.
That's right. Because they're stupid.
One of the most satisfying TV moments we can recall, a group of conspiracy theorists have actually spent thousands of dollars to prove that, yes, actually the Earth is round. Seen in the new Netflix documentary Behind the Curve, which follows a group of flat earthers, a small but growing contingent of people who believe in a conspiracy to suppress the truth that the Earth is flat. One of those flat earthers, Bob Nodal, who hosts the YouTube channel entirely dedicated to the theory, and who was one of the people one on the team relying on the $20,000 laser gyroscope to prove that the Earth doesn't actually rotate, except it does. What we found is that when we turned on the gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift. He explained a 15 degree per hour drift. Now, obviously, we were taken aback. Well, that's kind of a problem. Not if we're round, you idiot.
Somebody actually paid money to do this.
Obviously, we're not looking to accept that. We're looking for easy ways to prove it was actually registering the motion of the Earth. We know what they say. If your experiment proves you wrong, just disregard the result.
The fuckery never ends.
Well, we don't want to blow this, when we got $20,000 for this freaking gyro. If we dumped what we found right now, it would be bad. It would be really bad. What I just told you is confidential. Don't say it in front of the camera. I got a bunch. This one we got to do now. The problem is I should have done this earlier, because if we do this now, Ivan and I are going to get into a long discussion.
What's that?
But we'll have to talk about this next time. I don't know if Ivan caught this, but apparently Congress recently had a debate on its floor about whether Nickelback is good or bad.
What? One more time?
The United States Congress had a debate on its floor recently about whether or not Nickelback is any good.
Okay, why are we concentrating on Nickelback?
Isn't that like the butt of every joke I've ever heard is about Nickelback? All right, fine, we'll do this now. The debate started up when Representative Mark Pocan of Wisconsin cited the statistic that only 4 out of 77,000 people wanted to keep a particular right voting provision that was being debated by the body. He described the ratio as probably about the same percent of people who think Nickelback is their favorite band in this country. He was immediately interrupted by an offended Representative Rodney Davis of Illinois, Republican.
Okay.
Why would you criticize one of the great bands of the 90s?
Oh, really?
What? I told you, if we do this story, we're going to get into it. This is prime.
No, I'll keep it short and sweet, but what?
So, Pokehead said, wow, one more reason why there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans. But the debate did not end there. When he yielded the floor, Davis immediately brought up Nickelback again and said, I know he did not mean to offend the many thousands upon thousands of Nickelback fans in his district in Wisconsin. Adding, yes, I do have a Nickelback song on my running playlist that I listen to on a regular basis. I was ridiculed for that when I posted it in my playlist one time, and I know some in this chamber, even Alpha Dead, are still laughing about it. This entire exchange was available on C-SPAN, and you can watch it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your United States Congress.
Oh my God. Nickelback.
I'm trying to see, Mike, I'm trying to skip around on some ones that, because the irony is I got some good ones, but I'm going to cut short. I'll try to keep to the next couple. There's let's see, what's this one? I'm waiting for it to load. Come on. This Twitter account tells you which video games have dogs you can pet.
Aww.
Aptly named, Can You Pet This Dog?
It's kind of obvious, no?
2019. It was first tweeted on the 5th of the month. Already alerts its already sizable base of followers which petable dogs occupy the gaming medium. Can You Pet This Dog will name check a given video game pup and reveal whether or not said furry friend is functionally capable of being pet within the corresponding game.
What? What are they trying to make video games for dummies? Is this what we get into now?
No, I get this one. I do get this one, which is, it's the doggy. Can I pet the doggy, or is the doggy gonna eat me?
Okay.
That kind of thing. So they have an account where you can go and look it up. It's kind of fun.
I might have to look into that.
Yeah,
but Ivan, you don't play video games.
Yeah.
No, I don't play video games much. No, I'm more of a pinball guy, but
how much?
Say.
We should probably cut this here in a couple minutes, right?
Let's get 2 more in, and I think that'll do for this week. 2 more? Yeah.
Funny part is there's some better ones that I just picked up, but I think we'll save those for next time. Because there's some really good ones.
Ivan's top 10 list that threw us all off.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It's okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know where we left off. I know where we're gonna have left off. Here, we'll do this one since we're on the animal thing. A parrot returns to the British owner speaking Spanish 4 years after disappearing.
Okay.
Bird disappears and comes back. Espanol.
Very British pet parrot named Nigel has been reunited with his owner after disappearing 4 years ago, but he now speaks Spanish.
Puta!
Nigel,
Maricón!
Nigel, a gray African parrot, in 2010 in California, but returned to his owner after he was discovered in Torrance, California. Although the Spanish-speaking bird bit the original owner we first saw him, the owner said he's doing perfect. He says his bird's British accent is gone, replaced by a fluent Spanish and someone called Larry. It's really weird. I knew it was him from the moment I saw him. Nigel was discovered by Julia Sperling, who owns a dog grooming parlor, after she took him in as he matched the missing pet advertisement she had seen. He was the happy bird. He was singing and talking without control. He was barking like the dog. I'm from Hamon, who was saying what happened in Spanish. After handing Nigel over to a veterinary technician who had been searching for her long-lost bird since February, she realized the mistake and traced the original owner. So, yeah, apparently... How did he learn? He learned fluent Spanish in 4 years? That's kind of impressive.
Well, I mean, they're smart birds. They're smart birds, you know.
Yes,
so.
They are. Let's see. I think you can do these, but it depends on what reaction I get from some of you guys. There was a man this is from Jackson, Mississippi. Michigan, Dateline. Jackson man on his way to breakfast with friends Thursday morning went to the hospital instead after unintentionally shooting himself in the IHOP parking lot.
Okay.
30-year-old man was with his girlfriend and a friend parking in the IHOP parking lot on their way to eat at the restaurant when he got out of the car when his holster of his handgun went off, striking him in the left thigh. The gun owned by the man was concealed permit. This sounded funnier. I thought he went in to eat the pancakes and then went, but it doesn't do that now. So we'll skip through. So we'll skip through and we'll go to this.
They're shooting off in the parking lot.
By the time we record this, the day after we're recording is Tuesday, the 12th, is free pancake day at IHOP.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Avoid that at all costs. And don't bring your guns.
IHOP right down the street.
Don't bring your guns to town or to IHOP.
Yeah, or IHOP, doesn't matter.
This is probably a good story to end on. The residents of Fairhaven, Vermont, just elected a goat named Lincoln as their honorary mayor.
Okay.
They have chosen a goat named Lincoln. With 13 votes, Lincoln eked out a victory over Sammy the dog, who received 10. As the town's honorary pet mayor. Why do you have a pet mayor? Lincoln will attend events throughout the year and has already had plans to march in the parade on Memorial Day. He will take office on Tuesday. Well, apparently he's taken office. How do you like that? He took office on Tuesday.
You say it's a dog?
Tomorrow. You get the idea. Fairhaven has 2,500 people, and wait, it does not have a human mayor. The town manager, Joseph Gunter, heard about a town in Michigan that voted for an honorary pet mayor. He thought it would be a fun thing to do, and the same for Fairhaven. For just $5, residents could enter their pets in the race, with every dollar going toward building a community playground. Not only was $100 raised, it was a great way to introduce the elementary school kids to government. They don't have a mayor, but they got a goat.
Right, and the goat can be at the very end of the parade to eat the trash that everyone leaves behind at the parade.
There you go. Not only is he the mayor, he's the Department of Sanitation.
He's
as
an
well.
honorary mayor because the Fairhaven has no human mayor. He's like Gondor. Gondor has no king.
I'm gonna see if we can.
Got a trivia question for you guys.
I'm sorry, Ivan's talking at the same time. What was that, Jeff?
I think it's a good place to stop, and we'll tease the following story.
All right. Yeah, Ivan, you had a question? I'm sorry, Ivan, you had a question?
Oh no, I was going to say I had a trivia question.
All right, make it quick.
Okay, trivia question. Okay, in Chicago in 1945, there was a basketball team. All right, which you happen to know what that basketball team name is. I'll give you a hint. It is not the Bulls.
Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters?
Yeah.
No.
The Stags.
What?
Was it the Stags?
No.
Was it the Harlem Globetrotters?
No.
Because there's not in Harlem. There's no Harlem in Chicago.
No.
Okay. For a couple of years, okay, they were the first team to win the very first official major basketball league trophy. Okay, and they were known as the American Gears here in Chicago.
The American Gears.
The American Gears, Chicago American Gears. Look it up.
Okay,
it's quite a story.
Okay.
In fact, one of the members actually wrote a book a few years back, and it's just started to get some some notoriety. I saw it on Larry Potash the other night. It was very, very interesting story. So, yeah, so for those of you out there interested in Chicago basketball before the Bulls, yeah, the story about the American Gears, definitely something you'd want to look into. Okay. And now you could tell us where they could find us there, Mike.
All our goofy news brought to you by Jeff and, of course, our great listener, Scott. He's awesome. Thanks for bringing all this stuff to our attention. We appreciate it. It's on our Facebook page, the Squares of the Round Table podcast. That's where we're most active. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at SOTRT Podcast. Of course, thank you for listening very much on YouTube. We are also on PodBean. If you're on YouTube, that's awesome, too. Click the bell, subscribe. You will know when new episodes arrive. And if you want to send us an email, that's fine, too. SOTRTpodcast@gmail.com.
And with that, thank you for joining us here at the Squares of the Round Table. And I'm Ivan Rivera, along with Jeff, along with Mike. Glad to have you here. See you next time out. Everybody have a good time, and see you next.